right? All right, so this is Mrs. Moats' class. You're joining in on the video just because I wasn't here this morning to share this information with you. So Mrs. Sullivan's class is recording it for you so we can all be on the same page. So in some stories, we were just talking about tone and mood, but in some stories, visuals or illustrations are used to enhance the meaning or sometimes even the beauty of a story. So we're going to read this short blurb right here, and we're going to identify how the illustration reinforces or adds to the meaning of the words in the text. Okay, so we're going to read this. Again, I think we might have read a paragraph of this yesterday, but we're going to finish it up today. So follow along. You should be on page 145 in your paper. The ones who are in Mrs. Moats' class, you can pull your paper out if you would like to, or you can just follow along on here. That's totally fine. I don't care which way. Just please be paying attention. When Gian shone his flashlight, yeah, that's the right one. When Gian shone his flashlight in the box, he was astonished by what he saw. There was an old photo album. The first photo was of a garden filled with beautiful yellow and orange daylilies. They looked like the flowers that Gian and Lynn saw growing wild in China. Gian smiled. He didn't realize that daylilies would grow here. The next photo was a little girl smelling one of the flowers in the garden. Gian thought about how happy she looked in the photo. As he and Lynn looked at the rest of the photos, Gian realized that another family had once lived in this old farmhouse, and they made memories here too. Maybe his family could do the same. Also in the box was a huge pile of daylily bulbs. Gian wondered if any of the bulbs would grow. He wouldn't know for sure until he planted them. The skies had cleared and the tornado threat was over. Gian and Lynn left the cellar with Gian carrying the box. So, again, remember from yesterday when we read the last paragraph, which was about the tornado. Remember that one? Okay. So how has the tone of the story changed in this section compared to the tone in this section? We talked about this yesterday where the tone was dangerous, it was dreadful, was fearful, was scary. How has the tone changed now in this section of the story? How has the tone changed? How's the tone changed? If you look at the words, it would help you. You know, you're looking at astonished is probably going to be a good one. Beautiful, wild, smiled, family, memories. The threat was over. So how has the tone changed? Nolan, how has the tone changed? Okay. So the threat is over. The tornado is gone. The tone has shifted from fear, scary, to more of a happy, cheerful, hopefulness. Now they're no longer thinking about tornadoes anymore. They're thinking about planting flowers. So again, the tone has shifted. Look at this picture right here. How does the visual change? How have the visuals changed from the first part of the story to this part? You look at the visuals. Here's this visual here. Threatening, scary. Nobody wants to go through a tornado. Even if we're super close. Sometimes Circleville gets super close to that. Nobody likes to deal with those. Nobody likes to deal with the tornado warnings at 3 o'clock in the morning, which is the last one we had. How has the image changed? How has the image changed now? Nolan is not the only one that knows this answer. Come on, guys, focus. How has this illustration changed, Bo? Bo, legit, we went from what to what? Yeah, we went from a tornado to a flower, a delicate, pretty little lily, is shown in this second part. So does the illustration shift? Does it change? Yeah, heck yeah. We went from this threatening, scary tornado to this really pretty little flower. Jalen, how does this picture show beauty?
Because it's like more colorful than just plain tornado. It's like plain.
Because it's a drawing. Because it's a drawing, it's not as, as harsh as maybe this tornado. It's got some pretty neater, prettier lines. Looks a lot more delicate. So again, you can definitely see the tone shift in the illustrations. Okay. All right, flip to the last one on the very back. Flip to this one. It's 146. So, and I showed you a clip earlier. I'm sorry, Mrs. Moats' class, you did not get to see that clip, but that's okay. Mrs. Moats' class, you actually saw the clips yesterday. I showed the clips of the Home Alone trailers today with my morning class, so you guys already saw those clips. So, a visual or multimedia clip can give the reader more information about the tone of the story. In this particular case, we don't have a multimedia clip. We don't have a video to show what this story is trying to convey. But in some instances, we would have a clip that would kind of connect with the story. So you also want to think about that too. Sometimes visuals, they reinforce the meaning of the stories by focusing your attention on particular symbols, on themes, things like that. Remember, a symbol, how many of you guys know what a symbol is in reading in your text? What's a symbol? You know what a symbol is? Julia? Yeah, it can be. It can be an illustration. George? Yeah, it can be. A symbol is something that kind of stands for itself or something beyond itself, like an idea or a trait. Like the American flag is a symbol for the United States. It's our symbol. It stands for the United States. You could probably think of some other symbols around that when you see the symbol, you associate it with something. Companies, but those are kind of like logos. Tiger, kind of is a symbol for us. Yeah, kind of our mascot. Okay. All right. So let's go beyond the illustrations and the symbols, and we want to see if we can focus a little bit on the text a little bit. So here is paragraphs 11 and 12 of the text. Does anybody want to read that, or you want me to read it? I guess for the sake of this video, I probably should read it so they can hear me. But you guys can follow along real fast. Over the next few days, Gian and Lynn worked together to clear a patch of land for their daylily garden. They planted the bulbs and waited, and in a few weeks, the daylilies started to grow. To Gian's surprise, most of the old bulbs grew into beautiful flowers of orange and yellow. That summer, Gian and his family spent a lot of time together taking care of their garden. They all enjoyed the flowers that reminded them of their home in China. One day, while they were posing for some silly photos in their garden, Gian realized that as long as his family was with him, he could find happiness no matter where he lived. I think that they just kind of gave you a theme right there. A lesson learned, a moral to the story. Can you guys identify the theme to this short blurb we've been working on this week? What would the theme be, or the lesson learned? What do you think? I'm pretty sure they legit probably just stated it. It's like almost directly stated in there. What do you think? Bo, your hand's up. What do you think? When I'm asking you a question, don't stretch at that moment. Julia, what do you think? Yeah, like right here, he says he could find happiness no matter where he lived. Realized that as long as his family was with him, he could find happiness no matter where he lived. Did you guys remember reading that just now? Yeah, that's a pretty good theme. You know, the changes in the character's feelings, the actions, as well as the changes in the tones, all clues to the meaning and the theme of the story. And when we were talking about the symbol is something that stands for itself or something beyond the text. I think this is the symbol. I think this lily is a symbol of the message of the story. It's a symbol of growth, connection, hope, compared to the tornado that we were dealing with yesterday. I think this is a symbol for this story. We're going to continue to practice this stuff, guys, because it's a deep concept to understand the visual elements and the symbols and themes. All right. Okay, I'm going to pause this. Pause it. Oh, stop. Pause. Okay. For the rest of my kiddos. Okay, so I just want you to realize that this concept is super difficult. Okay, it's super hard to get the first time around. So don't get frustrated with yourself because we're going to be working on it the rest of the week when I get back on Thursday and Friday. Okay, so we will continue to work on this. I'm going to try and present this in the simplest way I possibly can so we don't have a whole lot of frustration. Okay. But to be honest, when we're talking about prepositions and adverbs, it gets super difficult and super confusing. Because the reason is we're going to be talking about words that we believe were prepositions that can now possibly be adverbs. Do you guys remember what an adverb is?
Maybe.
Describing a verb. You're right. You got it. It's describing a verb. Sometimes most adverbs that we know of, most adverbs tend to end in an ly. So like when you're saying, how is he running? He's slowly running. The adverb tends to be an ly, ending with an ly. It's not all the time, but a good majority of the time, your adverb is going to be an ly. So what we're going to do is we're going to take what we learned last week about the prepositional phrases. Molly, I need you to stick with me here. And we're going to kind of add to it because now we're going to be jumping into adverbs. The goal for this week is to be able to differentiate or be able to distinguish between the difference between do I have a preposition or do I have an adverb? Okay? Because there are some words that look like prepositions, but then when they're by themselves, they tend to be adverbs. So let's try this. What do you remember about prepositional phrases from last week? Remember, I gave you this. I told you needed to study at least 7 of them for the, excuse me, for the spelling test. And most of you did fairly well on them. But do you remember what the preposition phrase was? Do you remember how we figured that out? A prepositional phrase starts with a preposition, ends with a noun or a pronoun. Do you remember that? Remember when we did this together? So she fell over some sharp rocks. Over is the preposition, and rocks would have been the noun. And so this right here is the prepositional phrase. Does that all ring a bell to you guys? Okay. All right. Well, let's see what happens here. So, Lauren, pay attention. Sometimes a word that usually serves as a preposition will stand alone by itself. This word frequently ends a sentence. So this particular preposition can stand alone and it can end a sentence, such as these words. you see these words in bold? In, on, off, inside, out, outside, over, through, near, around, by, up, and down. They can serve as either a preposition or as an adverb. So, how do I know when these words right here, these bold words, are prepositions, and how do I know when they're adverbs? Okay, I'm going to show you. Look up here. If this word, any of these words right here, if they begin a phrase, if they're right here and they're the preposition that begins the phrase, if they begin a phrase, then they're a preposition. If they stand alone, meaning probably they're at the end of the word or at the end of the sentence, then they're probably an adverb. With me so far? Okay, so look at these examples. We looked up, come in, jump on. These are all prepositions that ended up at the end of the sentence. Most of the time, when a preposition ends at the end of a sentence, you end up having adverbs. Okay? So these would all be considered adverbs because they stand alone at the end of the sentence. Now, if the sentence went on and you had a prepositional phrase here, then chances are this would be a preposition. Molly, with me? Okay. So when a word that's usually a preposition stands alone, it serves as an adverb telling where. So we looked up. Where did we look? Up. Come in. Where are we to come? In. Jump on. Where are we to jump? On. So if you're not very sure if it stands alone, you're going to ask yourself, where am I going to do this something or other? Where are we going to look? Where am I going to come? Where are we going to jump? All right. Let's try some practice ones, and that's all we're going to do today because I don't want to frustrate the living poo out of you. Okay. That's not what I'm here for. All right. For those in Mrs. Moat's room, you probably have this paper. Mrs. D probably gave it to you this morning. So you could be doing this with us on your paper. When you're done, your paper just goes in your folder until the next time. Okay. So you're going to write a word that you learned on your list of prepositions in each blank. So chances are you're probably going to need, do you guys still have this paper? You're probably going to need this. It should not have left your folder. You're probably going to need it. You never got this? I think I put it in your folder. Did I? The list? Okay, well, I can always print another copy. All right. All right, if you don't have it, it's okay. I've got one right here in front of you. You can look up at the one I've got, but if you have one on hand, then you can pull it out and use it too. It just makes it a little better. I will copy this again for you this week if you've lost it. Guys, come on, hurry up with the pencil sharpeners. This is crazy. These should have been sharpened an hour ago. All right, so you're going to write a word that you learned on your list of prepositions in each blank. You're going to label it adverb to show that it serves as an adverb because it's going to be at the end of a sentence. Then write the word in the next blank and read that sentence. Okay. All right. So they're basically showing you how to go about figuring out if your preposition is an adverb or not. So hang on. Let's do hang on. You're going to put hang on there. And then on the other side, you're going to put Then rewrite the word in the next blank and read the sentence. So on tells where to hang. So hang on works there. They went. Can we think of a preposition that you see on your list? They went. They went. Okay. Okay, they went outside. I guess you can look up here at these words too. These words here will help you as well. Those words probably are going to help you too. Okay, so they went outside. And then outside tells where they went. Does that make sense? Yep. Stand. Stand up. You stand up. And then up tells where to stand. I'm just looking up here at these words. It's just easier. The words up here give you an idea of what to do. So if you don't have your list, I would just use this list right here. The dog ran around or beside. The dog ran around is probably the best choice. Around tells where the dog ran. You may come or in. That's the first one I thought of. In. Or you may come through. You may come through works too. You could do through. Through tells you where you may come. I jumped off. I jumped inside. I jumped near. Okay. So any of these work as long as it makes that sense. His cat sleeps inside. There you go. All right, that's as far as we're going to go today, boys and girls. We will go further with this the rest of the week, but we're going to stick with this for right now because I think that's 22 minutes that I just recorded for the other class today. So the rest of you for Mrs. Moat's group, you are going to be working the rest of your time on Snowflake Bentley. And then if you get Snowflake Bentley done, then you can work on your daily 3. I will see you guys Thursday.